begin our meeting. This is a regular meeting of the Wayne Westland Community Schools Board of Education, August 26, 2019. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to thank everyone for being in attendance this evening. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, led by Mr. Tom Buckaloo.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Buckaloo. Next on the agenda, calling of the roll, Mr. Neal.
Ms. Hines?
Present.
Mr. Neal, present. Mr. Buckaloo?
Present.
Mrs. Madell?
I'm here.
Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Dr. Weaver?
Present.
And President Cox.
Present.
All present.
Next on the agenda, for those of you that have an agenda, if I have a motion and support, we'd like to augment the agenda this evening by adding 373.19A, which would be a presentation from Mr. Spizak. If I hear a motion?
Mr. President, I'd like to make the motion that we accept this change of 374.19A.
Support.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Support by Mrs. Walker. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Neal, yes. Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Mrs. Madell?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
And President Cox.
Yes. Thank you.
78.
Mr.
Thank you.
Spizak?
Gentlemen, come on up. Well, good evening, and thank you for having us here tonight. I have the pleasure tonight to introduce some of our team from the bond, some of our professional services. My name is Tony Spizak. I'm the Executive Director of Maintenance and Operations here at Wayne Westland Community Schools. This past November, our community passed a $158 million bond issue. The day after that bond issue was passed, we put together a bond action team, and tonight I'm going to bring to you some of the folks from that team. The team consists of 24 members, central office administration, building principals, community members, stakeholders, professional services like the gentleman behind us, architects, engineers, landscape architects, construction managers, technology consultants, food service consultants, and many more. There are 9 subcommittees to the bond committee. Those 9 subcommittees consist of grade reconfiguration, packing and moving, believe it or not, packing and moving, repurposing of buildings, schedule and design. But tonight I have to introduce these professional folks to all of you and give you a little snapshot of what we've been doing for the past couple months. From communication by design, CBD, I have Carl Vanderzee. Carl will be in charge of he's our technology consultant. He'll help us design our new classrooms and the technology that you'll see in them. He's also working with us on our security upgrades, our PA upgrades, and as you'll see tonight as we go through the board meeting, our new phone system. I have Paul Corneliuson with French Associates. Paul is our lead architect for the elementary schools. French Associates has done about 250 schools just within the 65 districts around us. It's a large architectural firm, and we're happy to have Paul. We have Bill Weinrock with TMP. Bill is our lead architect for our secondary buildings. Bill will actually be giving you a presentation in a moment when I get done speaking on Career Tech and Wayne Memorial. And then I have right behind me Doug Underwood and Aaron Phillips with McCarthy and Smith. McCarthy and Smith is our construction manager, and they will oversee all the projects from start to finish. Some of these companies are new to us, and some of them have been with us for over 20 years. For instance, TMP and McCarthy and Smith were with us in the 1998 bond. They've also worked with us on our sinking fund projects and many more other projects that the district has done. I'm very excited to be part of such a wonderful project. It's amazing how we hit the ground and we just started running. We haven't stopped since day one. And we're going to be able to construct some beautiful and wonderful places for our community and for our students. And with that, Bill Weinrock is going to come down front and do a little introduction of some of the designs. And then afterwards, if you have questions for these folks, they'll be happy to answer them.
He's going to share a couple of boards for each of
project and of Wayne Memorial. So I just brought a couple of boards to show you what's been happening so far.
I'll turn them around.
Sorry. So at Ford Tech, the intent of the project was to create a new main office. It was also the intent to upgrade culinary arts. You have a medical program in the building that will be upgraded. So I'll start at the front door. We do have a small addition for the new main office. So up at the front door, this area in the circular area used to be the old office area. We're creating a new office addition. That addition is going to house a secure entrance that will allow the front doors obviously to be locked and have people come in one point of entry. We do have the new main office with all of the administrative functions in the red. And branching off from there, we come off to the side. This large area in orange actually becomes the culinary arts program in full. So today, culinary arts is down through the middle of the existing building. The nice thing is we can create a dining area that will have a secondary entrance so that patrons can come in through a secondary secure entry and go right into the dining hall. Adjacent to that dining hall, we've got what we're going to be doing is creating some large glass sliding doors. This will work as the culinary arts classroom, but it'll also allow for the doors to be open to expand the dining facility. Adjacent to that is a swing classroom, a collaboration area. It'll be the same thing where we can open some doors and further create a larger dining experience. In the past, Chef Tony had gone through, he had a small dining area and used the commons for any overflow or large group functions. This will allow them to create a function in one large open room. Come off to the side, the lecture hall that was built back in the previous bond. We're just going through and working on some carpet and paint. Same thing in the graphics lab. You have an old photography studio that's going to turn into digital media. Come back around, we've got shops along the bottom of the plan. Those shops are going to get new heating and ventilation systems. They'll be getting new paint. We'll be going through and introducing a new program to the building, which used to be the carpentry classroom or construction classroom. They're going to introduce a sports conditioning and exercise science classroom. So it's a new program that Ford Tech will introduce to the school. HVAC, welding, been through a number of years where the welding system or the welding classroom is expanding. We'll be going through and adding a ventilation system to help with the welding program. Auto body is going to get a new paint booth, and then construction technology and auto technology are really, it's sprucing up the place and giving it a new HVAC system. We come around the corner, there's a couple of classrooms in here. We're going to split those classrooms up, and there'll be math programs and a new career resource center. So basically, the program in itself is trying to consolidate and put programs next to close proximity to each other so it'll function better. We do have an electronics and robotics lab. And another major area of renovation is the medical assisting and health occupation programs. Those classrooms are spread out quite a bit. They're broken up into areas that are a little confusing for the group, so we're taking all the walls down and creating a real program for the medical program. And adjacent to it, we've got the graphics print lab. So we are touching the building for the most part. The biggest areas are going to be the new entrance, the dining and culinary arts, and the medical assisting programs. With that, we just had a couple of quick renderings talking about coming in the new main entrance into a new front office reception desk. It will allow them to greet visitors before letting them into the building. We'll be coming through and just adding a canopy to the front. The nice thing with this plan is we're bringing the front office out in towards the parking lot. So as you walk up to the building, there's not a confusion as to where you're going into the school. It'll bring that right up close to the parking lot with a new canopy. And then just a couple of renderings, trying to create a nice space for the student commons. The intent in the commons is to update it, new lighting, new dripboard drops. This is an area for students to come, sit, collaborate, and be able to plug in devices and recharge devices. So that's Ford Tech Center in a nutshell. Any questions?
No?
Oh, I have one question.
Melanie?
When will the construction start on that? Will it be next fall or?
I'm sorry, when will construction start?
So we are working on the estimating end of things right now with Ford Votech, just to make sure that we're sticking within that budget. We anticipate going out for bids with Ford Votech early in October, and we'll be bringing those bids or the contract awards to the board hopefully in November. So construction will then start in March. So we have had a couple meetings with Chef Tony, also with the principal at Ford Votech, and have kind of worked out kind of how we're going to work our way through this building with minimal interruptions to the work that's going on there, or the teaching that's going on there. So I think we're beginning to develop that plan. We still got probably another meeting or two just to kind of finalize that, but we're looking at this, starting March or April of 2020 and being primarily wrapped up by December, January 2021.
One more question too, is I'm concerned a little bit about the cost with the different tariffs and things of that nature. Will there be like some type of variation in the cost do you expect maybe within the next year or two with the project?
Well, that's why we want to get a bid out early.
Okay.
Obviously, we're working on an estimate right now, which is going to give us a pretty good idea of where we should end up. Right now, it's not a buyer's market in the construction with the economy. There's a lot of work out there. The earlier that we can get these out for bid is going to reflect, the best costing we can get at this time.
Thank you.
Please.
Next building is Wayne Memorial. Slightly more work happening at Wayne Memorial. I know you're familiar with the building. I'll just start at the existing main office. This particular area was hard to find, the main office, parking off to the back. One of the key features of the bond program was to create a connecting corridor that would come off of that first floor, go through the cafeteria and connect the theater so that you could be indoors walking between the existing cafeteria, through the gym. We've got indoor access into the gym and indoor access into the pool, and then also accessing the theater internally. With that, we started to look at the actual front entrance of the building. So part of the program is to relocate the kitchen and servery. We've got a large dining hall, and I'll get into some more of those features with the larger plan. But in doing so, that allowed us to free up the kitchen servery area out front, and we're looking at moving the main office to the front of the building, which would create a new main entrance. That main entrance will allow us to create a nice sally port. I do have a plan that I'll share with you next of that. We get a nice sally port, we come in, we've got the secure entrance into the main office, and basically taking a very nice facade on the front of the building, expanding that facade down past the pool and the gym. Right now, the existing gym and the pool are a little dated. They don't have a great presence. But our new addition is going to basically encapsulate those elevations to create a new front entry curb appeal for Wayne Memorial High School. So main office, intent is to move up front, create a new main office, a new visitor parking at the front of the building. There won't be any mystery. We come to the front door. After you park, you walk right into the building and you're right in the main office. With that, I come to the other plan. So the intent is to come down the hallway and get access to the theater. On the second floor, we're actually going to take the second floor. At the end, there's basically a wall and a window. We're going to open that up and create a second floor walkway. It'll take you right out to the commons area, which will be the new cafeteria and commons. Come down a grand staircase right into the cafeteria and commons. So this gives us a nice avenue to get the academic wing over to this side of the building for the cafeteria. Cafeteria is intended to act as a lobby for the theater. So after school hours, we've got storage. We fold the tables up, put them away, and this is a large open area lobby. We have some soft seating and some high table seating along the window line. So any after hours events, any theater events, you'll have a nice lobby. Get out, have a seat against the windows. You could work some concessions into the program. And use this as a multi-purpose space. So other activities that could take place, you move the tables away and you could have other activities like pom-pom or cheerleading or other groups that come and use that space as a collaborative space. This new cafeteria and dining area is actually extended down the hallway with this two-story, first floor, second floor corridor connection. It's going to be a 2 stories tall, baby glass and brick wall. I'll share with you a proposed elevation in a minute. There'll be seating up along this window wall as well, so students can break out. Maybe if they're not grabbing lunch, or if they are grabbing lunch, they can come and use these high top tables. There will be plug-ins for recharging their devices. And also doors to the outside. We're going to create a outdoor patio so that the students can go outside and have lunch. The patio will be enclosed, wrought iron gates and fencing so that the students are safe and won't wander off. But more importantly, people from the parking lot won't be able to get at the students. We've got the kitchen and servery. Part of the addition is going to be a new band room, a new choir room, and the choir room is going to be shared with drama. These programs are close to the stage and theater now. Currently today, you've got band and vocal music in some very small spaces at the theater. The intent is to build high volume spaces, get the acoustics correct, get the volume correct for the students, and we'll take the old areas and turn them into dressing rooms. So we'll be able to expand, get some nice dressing rooms, makeup area, walks right out on the stage. And we're doubling the size of the scene shop so that the scene shop will be large enough to run their program. Nice thing about the choir and band being on this end, we're going to create a corridor with some ramps because of floor elevations are up and down and trying to meet floor elevations. This will allow the band, choir, that will allow that group to walk down the ramp and get directly onto stage without having to go through the theater or outside to get to where they need to be. So in a sense, this whole new addition is feeding the theater as well as the cafeteria, commons area, and just is giving the students a place to gather and to collaborate before school, after school. One of the intents is to redo how the site parking is done. There's a large parking lot in front of the stadium. We're talking about with the staff, we're trying to talk them into creating that as a student parking lot. All students park in that end. Nice thing about that concept is they park, they come up the sidewalk, they enter into the cafeteria, and they're there before school for breakfast. They walk in, they're in a commons gathering area. There's ways that the staff can cordon off before they're released into the building. So you could have early arrivals, have a place to sit, have a place to gather, do homework, collaborate and do what they can do before school starts. I know these boards get a little small and hard to read, but the intent here is just basically to show that.
Mr. President, before he
Yes.
continues, can I ask a question about the previous rendering there?
Of course, sure.
Are we gonna be redoing the bathrooms?
I'm sorry?
Are we gonna be redoing the bathrooms in the theater
Yes.
facility?
So right now, I'll move this back around. Right now, we are creating, the bathrooms that are here are small and not very usable, so these bathrooms are gonna be expanded.
Okay,
So the expansion is really for classroom functions. So the intent is that once the theater is in operation, people would come outside and we're creating these large, nice-sized restrooms for the theater. We're going to expand these and create some barrier-free restrooms out here, but basically that is for the students when they're in drama or they're using the theater for classroom functions, so that they don't have to walk into the cafeteria to use the larger group rooms. So in a sense, this lobby becomes really a sound block, and the new lobby for the theater is out here.
thank you.
Coming back to the floor plan, the intent is just to share with you that this entry that at one point was a main building entry that we're going to reestablish as the main building entry. Create a secure entry. You gotta be buzzed in. You come through the door, you can get buzzed into the main office, and you're locked in the office. So the intent is to share with you that we are going to take what used to be cafeteria and stool store. We're gonna take that over as the administration. So the principals, assistant principals, secretarial staff, workroom, that all happens on this side of the corridor. Come across the hall, the kitchen and the cafeteria, that all is going to serve as the counseling area with additional offices and additional conference areas. But today, we just wanted to share with you that the space that was happening over in the original administration will be accommodated, moving it up front, and it actually flows really well. We can create some nice, secure passages so that people entering the building will have some hoops to jump through before they can actually get into the main school. And with that, my final board is a graphic representation of what the potential elevation might look like. Right now on the bottom slide, everything in gray with a gray roof, that's all existing building. And the white roofs, that is the connecting corridor, the cafeteria, band, kitchen that we had talked about earlier. The intent is to take this nice facade that's down at the west end of the building and expand that as you come across the new front elevation. So we do create glass and brick elevation that comes across. We've got old historic value to the building. We've got a newer 70s theater that's a little more, I don't want to say updated architecture. We want to marry the old with the new. So part of what we were looking at doing is taking, not putting stone on the building, but creating some metal panels, try to do things efficiently, effectively, bring it across the front, and then create a new canopy that'll more mirror what's going on at the theater. And then this little drop-off drive with the canopy would really be a theater drop-off. Could potentially be for parent drop-off or what have you, but really the intent is to create this entry for the theater so that people can come in, drop off people, drop off their visitors, and then go back out and park in the parking lot. With that, that's really where we're at today. Any questions?
Through the chair, too. So there'd be no renovation of the theater itself as far as inside the
Right now,
oval?
the theater was renovated under the previous bond, so they did get seating, carpet, some lighting upgrades. We will be looking at doing a house lighting upgrade in the theater. The district has already replaced some of the lighting, theatrical lighting on the stage. So those spaces are up to date. Previous bond, they put in a platform lift to make it barrier-free. So the theater itself should remain. We're talking about doing bringing a sound booth into the lower level, but that's really won't impact the footprint of the theater.
Question, what about the roof? Because the roof is really leaky.
There are some areas that will have roof replacements. There have been some roof replacements through the years, but that's all part of the bond. I didn't get into all the assessment type work. And there is other things happening throughout the building. I just wanted to share some of the major components today.
How do the secure entryways work with the entryways at the Votex Center that allow you to go in the restaurant and here where you can go into the auditorium separately?
Right now, what we're looking at is similar to what you're doing today. You come up, you hit an intercom button. We're looking at how to tie some of those areas together, whether it would be a single point of service where someone at the Ford Tech administration would let somebody into dining. Those are still being worked on. But the intent is still, you come up to a door, school starts, all the doors around the perimeter are locked. You come up to the building, you hit the intercom button, and someone has to let you into the school. So the Ford Tech piece with the dining, we're still working on that piece with the rest of the team.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, Carl, do you want to speak a little bit about the intercom systems and how they're going to work on the telephone?
Sure, yeah. So part of the safety.
Can you use the microphone, sir?
Absolutely. Part of the safety and security upgrades that we're looking at doing over the course of the bond project, sort of the first foundational thing that to go into place will be the phone system we're going to be asking for approval tonight on. But then after that, the other pieces really are building block pieces that fit together with that. So the capabilities we're looking at are to be able to create cameras and microphones that you can place throughout the building entrance locations that actually signal people at telephone locations anywhere in the building. So we won't have necessarily dedicated pieces of equipment that only work to the office or only work to certain areas. The intent is to be able to have those cameras and intercoms so that you could choose at different points in time, for a theater event, for instance, to have someone in a theater ticket office be able to unlock those doors or keep them locked. And then during the day, when the school's in session, maybe those are ringing to the front office, but have those pieces all integrated together.
Thank you. Further questions? Does that conclude your presentation?
That's it, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you bringing that to us. Move on to the next item on the agenda, 374.19, which is citizens' comments on agenda items. Citizens wishing to address the board can do so in addition to the items on the agenda, the items that you just received the presentation on. Is there anyone that would like to address the board on items on the agenda? Okay, and next item on the agenda, 375.19, is a consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Move to accept.
Moved by
Support.
Mrs. Walker, support by Mrs. Hines. Roll call vote?
Mr. Bucklew,
Yes.
Mrs. Madell,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Ms. Hines,
Yes,
myself, yes, Mr. Cox,
Yes.
7 yea.
Motion passes. 378.19 is review and approval of human resources items. Mrs. Simmons?
Thank you, Mr. President.
No.
I'm sorry?
Committee reports were next. 376.19.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Is that why you hesitated, Mrs. Simmons?
He's trying to get us out.
376.19 is Board of Education Committee reports. First report is from the Finance Committee. Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes, thank you, sir. Meeting was called to order at 10:30 a.m. On August 15th this year. In attendance, Jill Simmons, Assistant Superintendent for Employee Relations and Operations. Mr. Devin Kling, Director of Finance. Kim Markey, Grants Management Purchasing Supervisor. Tamara Fox, Administrative Assistant for the Board of Education. Mr. Tony Spizak, Executive Director of Maintenance and Operations. Gino Montoya, Energy Management Supervisor. Yvonne Scott, Administrative Assistant Recorder. Paul Corneliuson, French and Associates. Aaron Phillips and Doug Underwood, McCarthy and Smith. Carl Vanderzee, Communications by Design. Bill Weinrock, TMP Associates. And for the Board of Education, Shauna Walker and myself. Following introductions, Mr. Underwood provided everyone with a review of the bid process, beginning with the initial advertisements for bids, following through to final evaluations and board approval. As you saw just a minute ago, the committee listened to plans and saw drawings for changes planned for Career Tech and for Wayne Memorial, the same presentation that you saw. The presentation for Career Tech will come before the Finance Committee and then the Board of Education for approval in November, and Wayne Memorial the following month in December. Committee also saw a presentation for a new and enhanced phone system, and the board is going to be asked to vote on that following a presentation in a few minutes. Committee reviewed a package of agreements following the City of Wayne, Hype Recreation, and Wayne Westland, and this agreement will be beneficial to all parties involved. It's going to come before the board sometime in the near future, but no date is set at this point. Finally, Mr. Kling updated the committee on the status of our bond funds and also on other accounts. The meeting was adjourned at 12:08 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Buckalew. 377.19 is review and approval of business service items and finance items. Mrs. Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, we are asking for board approval to purchase a new phone system for the district. Our current phone system is almost 20 years old, and we expect that it will not be supported by the manufacturer within the next year. The new system will have upgraded features, connect to newer and more economical phone line services, be more efficient and economical to operate, and provide enhanced emergency notification features, which will integrate with other district safety and security platforms. This purchase was put out for bid and was awarded to Moss of Grand Rapids. If approved this evening, the cost of $800,039.21 will be charged to the bond account.
Is there a motion?
Motion to accept?
Support.
Moved by Mr. Walker, supported by Dr. Weaver. Is there discussion? I guess I'd just like to say that it isn't a matter of just updating our phone system, but rather having a phone system that integrates with the security protocols that is going to exist throughout our district once the bond issue is implemented. We have to have, obviously, any security system, communication is a major component of it, and this phone system manages that communication.
I would add that communication isn't limited to just the building, but also would include our parents.
Our what?
Our parents as well, our community.
And roll call vote?
Mrs. Madell,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Buckalew.
Yes.
And President Cox.
Yes.
7 yea.
Okay, next item on the agenda, 378.19 is human resource items also. Ms. Simmons.
Thank you again, Mr. President. I would like to present to the board for review and approval a new principal for Edison Elementary School, Bennett Tyler. If you refer to page 20, you will find his data sheet. He possesses a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Michigan Dearborn in elementary education and a Master of Arts in Educational Leadership from the University of Michigan Dearborn. He has been employed with Northville Public Schools as an elementary teacher, West Bloomfield School District as a 4th grade teacher, and most recently in South Haven Public Schools as an elementary principal.
Your motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Weaver,
Support.
support by Ms. Hines. Discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
myself, yes. Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
Mrs. Madell,
Yes.
President Cox.
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
Mr.
7
Tyler? Welcome, Mr. Tyler.
Thank you very much. Well, I'll keep it short, but I'm very excited to have the position, and I wanted to thank Chris and Joe also for making it a smooth transition, and we're ready to go tomorrow morning. So thank you very much.
That's a great
Excited
school.
to be here.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
We're
you.
excited to
Welcome to the
have you.
family.
Thanks.
Welcome. Mrs. Simmons, you're on a roll.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Next is a recommendation for an assistant principal at Wayne Memorial High School, Ms. Stacy Bukowski. She possesses an Associate of Arts in General Studies from Washtenaw Community College, a Bachelor of Science with a Communication, Theater Arts, and English major from Eastern Michigan University, and a Master of Education in Educational Leadership from Concordia University. She began with Washtenaw Alliance Virtual Education. She has been with Wayne Westland Community Schools as an ELA teacher, a short transition to Ypsilanti Community Schools as an ELA teacher, and then back most recently to Wayne Westland as an English language arts teacher.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Moved by Mrs. Madell, supported by Mrs. Walker. Discussion? Roll call vote.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
myself, yes. Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
Mrs. Madell,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
and President Cox.
Yes. Ms. Bukowski?
7 yeas.
Thank you for seeing the error of your ways and coming back to us.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you very much for the approval. I'm very elated about this opportunity. Brought my family here tonight. I have my daughter Kendall, my daughter Aubrey, my son Matthew, my husband Chris. So this is a huge opportunity not only for me, but also for my family. And I'd also like the staff members that came tonight, thank you for your support. It means everything. And we started a good thing today, and it's going to be a fresh new start. It's going to be a wonderful year. So
What
thank
did you think
very
about what
much.
we're going to do to your new school?
I know, that was incredible. I'm like bending my neck to see. Yeah, we're really excited about that. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome. We're excited to have
Thank
you
you.
back.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Simmons?
All right. I would like to present to you for review and approval Ms. Diane Green. She is also being recommended as an assistant principal at Wayne Memorial. Page 22, you'll find her data sheet. She has a Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education English from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and a Master of Arts in Secondary Education Administration from University of Phoenix. She has been an ELA teacher in Clark County School District, Las Vegas, as well as an English language arts teacher with the Taylor School District, and most recently served as an assistant principal in Taylor Schools.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Motion by Dr. Weaver, support by Mrs. Walker. Discussion? Roll call vote.
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
myself, yes. Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
Mrs. Madell,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
and President Cox.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Mrs. Green, congratulations. Your fan club's all up here.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so unbelievably excited for the opportunity. I brought my son, Tim, my daughter, Lauren, and her husband, Zach, all three John Glenn graduates. So I'm getting a little bit of the stink eye for the blue shirt that I just got. I think I got called a traitor, but I'm so excited to be a part of this. I've always thought this is an amazing school district, so thank you so much for the opportunity.
We're so glad to have you. Thank you so
I have
much.
one question.
Mrs. Walker?
I just have one question for you. How were you able to concentrate in Vegas when you went to college with all that was going on?
You know, I guess I was one of those abnormal people, because once you move there, it's not the same. It really isn't. And it was, yeah, because it's right off the strip, too. So
I know.
Good thing I have self-control.
Welcome to the Wayne Westland family.
We have a lot more water here, too. Ms. Simmons?
All right, thank you. I have another internal candidate this evening to introduce for the Adams Upper Elementary School Assistant Principal position. On page 23, you will find the data sheet for Ms. Lisa Shepard. She possesses a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education Mathematics from Eastern Michigan University and a Master's in Early Childhood Education from the University of Michigan Dearborn. She began in Plymouth Canton Community Schools as a kids' time assistant, and before moving to Wayne Wesleyan Schools, where she has served in a number of roles, including 6th grade teacher, elementary teacher, math teacher, and most recently this last school year at Taft Galloway Elementary as an instructional coach.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Moved by Mrs. Walker.
Second.
Support by Mrs. Mendel. Discussion?
All I want to say is that, Lisa, we've known each other for a very long time. You are a hard worker. She and I taught math together for a very long time and worked on math committees and everything else. She will be a great asset to Adams.
Oh, nice. Anyone else? Roll call vote, Mr. Secretary?
Myself, yes. Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Mrs. Madell?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
President Cox?
Yes, absolutely.
7 yea.
Congratulations, Mrs. Shepard.
I just want to say thank you so much. I've spent my whole career here in Wayne Wesleyan. I'm very proud of that. And I'm thrilled to be the assistant principal, not the principal. Sorry, I got that wrong.
It's okay, we like your
I'm ahead of
ambition.
myself, apparently. I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled for this position. I'm excited to serve the students and the staff and families at Adams. And I think it's going to be a great year. Thank
We
you
feel the
so
same
much.
way. Happy to have you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Simmons, you're hitting every single ball right over the fence. Good job. You're up.
All right, thank you. I am presenting to you this evening the final of the 8 contracts for approval by the board. This is formerly the ACE, Adult and Community Ed contract. We have renamed this as part of the proposal, the Early Childhood Education Bargaining Unit. The contract was voted on today by its members, and it unanimously passed with 100% yes votes. It's being presented to you tonight for review and approval. The following are the proposed changes. The major highlights: a 3-year contract to begin September 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2022. Steps reinstated for each year of the 3-year agreement. 5% increase to the top step in year 1, 2% increase to the top step in year 2, and again in year 3. A sick day payout added of $20 per day for employees with 0 to 5 years of district service and $30 per day for employees with 6 or more years of district service. And then a retention bonus each year increased from what was paid out at $750 to $1,000. And the delay in this, there is no lapse in their contract. Their contract doesn't expire until August 31st, 2019, but we were waiting for the Head Start approval with the new grantee. So that was the delay in getting this to the board for approval.
Thank you, Mrs. Simmons. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Walker, support by,
No, I'm Adele.
I'm sorry, Ms. Madell. By Dr.
Second.
Weaver. Need to borrow Mr. Buckaloo's. Is there discussion? Mr. Buckaloo, you look like you have something to say.
No, I don't.
Okay. Roll call vote?
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Mrs. Madell?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Myself, yes, and President Cox?
And vote yes.
7 yea.
Congratulations.
A lot of heavy lifting there, Mrs. Simmons. Congratulations to you. I know I said it before, but I know how much work you've been doing on all these, and so happy to have them all resolved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda, 379.19, which is the 2019 to 2020 Staff Recognition and Appreciation Days.
Okay, the
Ms.
calendar list of staff recognition and appreciation days on this evening's agenda is being presented for board approval. You can find those dates on page 24. These dates have been selected in conjunction with National Recognition Days to recognize all of our employee groups for their contributions and dedication to the district.
Move to accept.
Mrs. Walker moves to accept. Support?
Support.
By Dr. Weaver. Is there discussion? Roll call vote?
Mrs. Madell?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
And President Cox?
Yes.
7 yea.
380.19 Head Start Year-End Report for 2018-2019.
As required by federal law, all of you have received a copy of the Head Start report for April 2019 grant year-end report in your place this evening. I need a motion to accept this report.
Move to accept Mrs. Madell's report.
Moved by Mrs. Walker.
Support.
Support by Mrs. Hines. Is there discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Ms. Hines,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
Mrs. Madell,
Yes.
and President Cox.
Yes.
7 yea.
Next item on the agenda is 381.19, citizens' comments on non-agenda items. This is an opportunity for those in attendance to speak to the board about anything at all. Doesn't have to appear on the agenda. Please. Will you state your name, please, and address?
Hi, I'm Crystal Nevada. I have a son that is getting ready to attend John Glenn High School. And I was just wondering if there was an assistant superintendent through the chair too that I could speak to? Because the superintendent I see is not here. So I
Well,
just,
at our board meeting, that typically wouldn't be something you'd be doing in any event.
Okay.
If you have questions, you can present the questions either to myself after the meeting or Mrs. Simmons, and we'll get you an answer to any question you have.
okay, yeah, it's just a concern to the bus transportation.
You're welcome to voice it.
Okay, I had an older son that attended John Glenn, and he rode the bus that has picked up in my subdivision before, which was like a block and a half down from my home. But today I was notified that my son that is now getting ready to attend will not be able to have bus transportation, even though it picks up a block and a half down from my home. So I was just really concerned for the fact that he's not going to be able to ride a bus this year, and the safety of him being able to come back home from school. It does say on the Google Maps that I live 1.7 miles, and they said that anyone that was over 1.5 would be able to do bus transportation, but he's not included.
Okay,
So I just have a major concern about him being able to walk to and from school,
sure,
being that
understandable.
far.
And make sure that we get your contact information, and we'll deal with this after the meeting, okay?
Okay,
And
thank
get an
you.
answer to you. Thank you
Thank you.
very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Seeing none, thank you. Next item on our agenda is the review and recommendations of the members of the Board of Education, 382.19. Mr. Buckaloo.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate all of our new hires and Ms. Simmons for finally wrapping up all of our contracts and having that behind us and ready to go before the start of the year. This is our spring, the fall of the year, when the leaves get ready to fall. That's when we have the rebirth here in education. The kids show up, the teachers are ready to go, and we're at that time. The next time this group meets, we'll be well into that first month of school, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing. I wish that some of you folks had had a better opportunity to look at some of the drawings, some of the renderings of the changes that are taking place at Career Tech and at Wayne Memorial. They are fantastic. They will knock your socks off when you see them in reality. And we're primed and ready to go. As you probably know, the financing is in place. We thank you again and again for voting that millage and allowing us to make the changes that are necessary, that are going to give your kids the very best education that we can possibly offer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buckaloo. Dr. Weaver?
Thank you, Mr. President. Also, congratulations to Ms. Simmons for all of your hard work that is paid off in our contract negotiations. Congratulations to the all-new staff at Wayne Memorial High School. And I hope you wear your tennis shoes, Mr. Anderson.
Ready.
Okay.
Now we're ready to go.
There is one item I'd like for to speak to, and that is there is a path down Marquette that students cross to as a shortcut to get to John Glenn High School. About 5 or 6 years ago, a young lady was crossing through there and she wasn't accosted, but there was a man in those weeds. Nothing happened, but we had decided at that time to keep that cut down. And as I'm driving by it, I'm seeing it's overgrown again, so we need to cut that path. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver. Mrs. Mandel?
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate all of our new position people and hope they realize that here in Wayne Westland, we do work hard for our students. Some of them who have been with the district, like Lisa, already knows that we are hard workers, but it pays off in the end with our student achieving higher than they did when they came to us. And I'd like to thank Tony and his team for all the work that they're doing to make our facilities much better. They work all summer long to clean and fix and retrofit some of our aging infrastructure, and they have done a fabulous job again this year. And to Mrs. Simmons, job well done. It's done. So you get a couple years respite here before the next round. So congratulations. I know how hard you've worked. As a woman of faith, I pray every day that we have a very successful school year, that we have no incidences, no accidents, and definitely no deaths of students, because it takes the wind out of our sails until we can regroup. And going into the new school year, every year, I pray that this does not happen. And some years, my prayers are answered, and other years, not so much. But I pray that this school year will be highly successful for us, and that our kids are kept well, kept safe. And people, those yellow buses out there that are the size of the buildings, do not stop on a dime. Please be careful when you are driving around them. Be careful of the little feet that go on those buses. They are our precious cargo. Please drive safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hines.
Congratulations to the people who received their positions: Bennett Tyler, Stacy, Diane, Lisa. I am so excited to see you guys in these new positions. We're going to have a great new year. I'm looking forward to the football games. Miss Medell and I were able to go see the marching band at Wayne Memorial. They are doing awesome. So I cannot wait for the first performance. I also like to say that I was able to go to one of the Michigan Association of School Board conferences over the past weekend, and I took some really interesting classes. They had the class, we talked about parliamentary procedures, we went board superintendent relations, Open Meetings Act, and how to deal with difficult people. So like the nice thing about MSAB, they keep us up to date with the current trends. We were able to network with other school districts to learn different things, so it was a really wonderful conference. And like I said, I'm really excited about this year. It's going to be fabulous, and go Zebras, and I'm a Zebra Rocket myself, but it's going to be a great year.
Thank you, Mrs. Hines. Mrs. Walker?
Thank you. I just want to say welcome back to a new school year to our students and staff. And I just want to say congratulations to those who got new positions, and to Mr. Tyler and Ms. Green, welcome to the Wayne Westland family. And that'll be all my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Mr. Neal?
Ms. Simmons, thank you very much for not only what you've just done, but what you always do. You do a fabulous job. Thank you very much. Likewise, I'd like to congratulate all our new hires, including those we met tonight. We look forward to them joining us. And really excited about our redesign group and what's going to happen with all of our schools. I love the plans that are being presented, and I congratulate Mr. Spizak and his group for everything they do to make sure that stays on course. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. I'd also like to mirror what Mr. Buckaloo said. Welcome back to our kids. They're going to be back soon, and we're so anxious to have them back in the buildings. Summer kind of drags on without them, and we'll have some students here at the next meeting leading us in the pledge to let Mr. Buckaloo off the hook. As I look at the data sheets on the different teachers, I'll pick Mrs. Shepherd out because she's staying after school this evening. What a remarkable educational background she has and the experience that she has with other school districts. That just enriches us here at the Wayne Westland School District, because not only has she learned so much in her education, but she also has been able to see how other school districts do things, and she's going to bring all those ideas. And Dr. Anderson, I continue to be very happy for you. I know you're going to have a great year over there. You've got a great new team, and I'll join my colleagues in saying that I wish you could have seen the rendering that we were able to see tonight, and you will see it. They will bring back other renderings, and it will be out. They're doing a tremendous job of marrying the old with the new and not losing anything in the building in the process, and making it a lot more user-friendly, not just with the ramping so that the floor levels are all the same, but allowing the kids to come right into the cafeteria in the morning. I know that's, just think back when you were in school, what a great thing that would be. You get to school early, you can spend some time getting freshened up before you go into the classroom on your assignment to the day. So we're all excited about that. Tonight, one of the members of the Board of Education brought up the issue of the cost associated with these projects. And of course, when you're on the Board of Education, that's the number one thing you have to look at always and forever is the money. And I'll just say that, of course, we don't buy any construction materials from China anymore. So the tariff war going on is not going to affect us. But what does affect us is that all of the school districts in southeastern Michigan that have approved bond issues. And all of those school districts are just as intent at getting their work done as we are. So there's going to be, there's going to be a competition for the contractors that do this work. And that's one of the reasons that I, as a member of the Board of Education, voted for TMP and voted for McCarthy Smith to be the architect and the construction team, because those people are going to attract the quality subcontractors that know that those companies are going to be in business for years and years, and those are the companies that they want to continue to do business with, so they'll come and work on our project. So that had a lot to do with, with who you choose to lead your team. And also, you've heard it time and time again tonight. You heard it with the telephone system and also with how the building is being redesigned. Ladies and gentlemen, security is a paramount issue in all of this design. It won't look that way. It'll just look attractive and new and nice and pleasant, but everything's being done for the security of the students in that building. You will not be able to come into that building unless you've been vetted through the main office and through a variety of different technologies, both at that point and throughout the building, so no one's going to be running around inside of our buildings without us knowing about it. And that has always been of chief concern to all members of the board, and I know that the teachers and the support people that are in the buildings feel the same way. The safety of our students is of paramount importance in this entire consideration. So this is the last meeting before the kids come back. So welcome back, kids. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Buckaloo, supported by Mrs. Hines. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thank you.